in today's sharing, we're going to concentrate on an interesting theme. I'm going to present for you a case, which is a real case, whereby a person was deeply entrenched in her spirituality, or let's say in her religiosity, but could not find peace until she made that final leap from religiosity to spirituality. I'm going to read this interesting case. It's a chaplaincy at work, I called it. I was referred to Amy, and this is a fictitious name, a patient in the medical ward who was suffering from an advanced cancer. Before I went to visit her, the staff gave me a good introduction about Amy's situation. I valued their introduction as it served me to listen more where Amy was at. Amy was a middle-aged woman. She was married and had 2 sons. Her youngest son was going to graduate as a notary in 10 days' time. Amy had been suffering from cancer for 9 months. Unfortunately, there was nothing that could be done for her. Amy was a very religious woman. She believed in a God who does what he promises. In visiting her, I sensed that Amy was feeling betrayed and angry with this God who let her down. And as her cancer spread, she continued attending the healing services and intensified her prayer for healing. As her medical condition deteriorated, Amy also lost her peace of mind and heart. He used to say, if Jesus healed many sick people, how is it that he cannot heal me, heal my disease? This is the God who heals, the God my healer. Where is he in my sickness? Obviously this made Amy very angry, because she thought that God was so unfair to her. She could not understand why God was so insensitive to her plea when she had been such a good wife and mother. She was very upset and angry with God because she was impeded from attending her son's graduation. Obviously, I sensed that Amy needed companionship, and so that's what I did. I started going to visit Amy, and by being with her, I felt that this patient was a prisoner of her fossilized faith. Amy was also angry by the upsetting behavior of her friends. They told her that it was God's will that she had cancer, and when she told me to pray for her to be healed, I asked her if she would want me to pray with her for her healing. Amy agreed, and I used her very words of protest. And it is okay in pastoral care to use words of protest, because what the patient says are the sacred words the Lord is saying through that patient. When I went back to the chaplain's quarters, I asked myself how I would best accompany Amy in her journey. My pastoral reflection led me to the following pastoral plan, which I executed. First of all, visiting Amy frequently. Second, listening to her and allowing her to express her feelings and explore her faith if she so wished, and inviting her for prayer. Now, the next time I visited Amy, she was conscious, and when I asked her how things were going, she told me that she was not feeling well. In her faint voice, I could hear that gradually she had started accepting her own situation. Although she asked me to pray for her healing, I sensed in her request that Amy was seeking to achieve peace. Picking up her desire for peace, in my prayer, I asked Jesus to be a healing presence for her. And before Amy died, I could sense that healing had already begun to take place in her. It was after venting her frustration and anger with the God of justice and reciprocal fairness in the company of a caring listener that Amy could move on to meet a God of compassion, love, and acceptance. Amy found the real God on her deathbed. She could make the leap in faith because she was allowed to be herself. She met the real God, whose very name is I am who I am, taken from Exodus chapter 3, verse 14. And I frankly think that this is the crux of being a chaplain. To be and let the patients be. And when the pastoral being meets with that of the patient's being, together they start an adventurous, laborious, and at the same time interesting and challenging journey towards the be, the I am, the God. God heals us through His being, or rather in letting us be who we are. And it is through our being in Him, who is always and eternally is, that we find our hope, our joy, and our coping mechanisms to live our lives. So let us today, in our prayer, carry the being of chaplains, the being of the patients, and may we, as chaplains, let our patients, our staff, the relatives of the patients just be. And may this being help us to start a journey with DB, with a capital B and capital E, that is God, or a higher power. This is my wish for all of you, dear chaplains, dear patients and workers at the hospitals, and may we as chaplains learn more and more to listen to the cries of the people we meet, because a caring listening is a very effective way, and in fact a privileged way of being for those who really struggle to be who they are. May God bless us all.